Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for October 28th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. It is Tuesday. It's time for a little motivation / positivity brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join in the fun. We are a member of the Clashing Conferences podcast here at This Day in Philly Sports History. Check me out on the members pod from last week, available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Have a good time talking with those guys. Talked a little baseball, NBA, some college football. So join the fun today. And hopefully you're seeing this. Riverside, the studio I used, was having some issues, couldn't get in. Tried to go in a back way. It says I'm recording live. Whether or not I get to edit it or not, who knows? So I might just be talking to myself today. But it is Tuesday, so let's get into that motivation and positivity. And this is definitely one of those ones that I've been sitting on for a while. The quote comes from Seneca via one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's posts. But it's all about time and not wasting time. But the quote, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And that really kind of hits home because obviously we all know life is short. We have zero control over the amount of time we have, and we can't control how much we have, but we can control how much time or how we spend the time that we do have. And we're all guilty of this, myself included, wasting time. Like how many times you go down rabbit holes and you're scrolling social media or on YouTube looking at videos when you could be doing something more productive than that. Like I said, I am 100% guilty of that. Even when I'm prepping for the podcast, I'll go down. Next thing you know, I'm like, wait, what am I even working on? So we're all guilty of that, and we can't have more time. Time is a finite resource, and I think sometimes it's important to kind of treat it as that and make it more meaningful and use it more wisely. Don't put things off, whether it's having a conversation, saying you're sorry, asking for forgiveness, starting a hobby, looking for a job, taking a risk, whatever it is, doing something that you really want to do and we're putting it off or we procrastinate on it. Just treat it as the finite resource that it is and go out and do the thing. Whatever that thing is for you, go out and do it. Start today. And a good way, and this is where the Arnold part came in, he outlined what you do is take a week, a day, whatever sort of time period you want to do. Write down to the minute, everything you do. And then reflect back on it, see where you're maximizing your time, where you could possibly be wasting time, and then adjust and do important things with your time and don't waste time anymore. And like I said, I think that's very, very important just in life in general. We waste a lot of time, and it's the one resource that we don't have a lot of. So it's not about the time. It's not about that we have a short time to live, but it's that we waste a lot of it. So go out, stop wasting time, do something productive with your time, do an inventory, and go out and do the thing. Whatever that thing is for you, go out and do it. Don't put it off because you never know if you're going to have more time tomorrow or going to even be here tomorrow. So that is Tuesday Motivation Positivity for this Tuesday, brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com for details and see how you can join. Come over, have some fun, talk some sports with me, knock some sense into these other fan bases and let them know just how great the Philly fan base is. All right, let's get into some Eagles news. I had a chance to watch some more quote-unquote film, listen to what everybody had to say. But first, your GOAT of the game, Saquon with 50% of the vote, Jalen with 33%. Both of them had outstanding games. There's just no other way to argue it. Lots of write-in votes for the offensive line. I had one person say Kevin Petula. More on that here in a minute. But thank you for voting for your GOAT of the day. This week, for the first time, it is Saquon. All right, some other news and notes I had kind of as I was going through yesterday and looking at things. Tank Bigsby finally had a breakout performance. 9 rushes for 104 yards. Just goes to show you just how great the offensive line played. Specifically, Brett Toth. I heard somewhere that it could be Toth, but even the PA guy at the link on Sunday was calling him Brett Toth. So, not sure. But Brett, if you're listening, let me know. I'll call you by the right name. But the offensive line played so well. Tank Bigsby with the huge 2nd and 26, even though on the TV it said 2nd and 31, 30-some yard run for a first down. But the running game was going. And I think moving forward, this offense is going to be a problem. Because it's, again, what are you going to do? If they're going to be able to run the ball like that, go ahead. Sell out to stop the run. We saw what Jalen can do if you're going to sell out and put 8 in the box. All right, so you're going to stop the pass. We saw what we did to the Giants. And I think what can't be lost on that game is just how great the Giants front four is. So the fact that they were able to get over 200 yards rushing against that defense, that's huge. And again, especially heading into the bye week, they're going to get healthier. This team is set up to go on a nice little run here. Schedule is hard, especially coming out of the bye. But those teams also have to play us. And if they're going to be well rested, have a bye week to prepare, it could be trouble for the Green Bay Packers. But we got some time, so we'll kind of see how the bye week progresses. Everybody's probably on vacation or doing a little traveling for a couple days. Lots of talk from Giants fans specifically about the refs. And again, I'm not going to sit here and blame 100% a game on the refs. Can they turn the tide somewhat and then change the momentum? Absolutely. Could they have called pass interference on the pass interference they called on Slayton on cue? Probably. Could have gone either way. I mean, he's done that a couple times, and I've talked about this, where he's grabbing the jersey, but he's doing it in a way that he's not getting seen. So it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and go back and through and look at all of the obvious missed calls and things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, the refs didn't cause you to give up 200 rushing yards. The refs did not call or cause you to get burnt a couple times. Jahan Dodson absolutely mossed the defensive back on that play. So that had nothing to do with the refs. So we'll see how that goes. But again, I'm never going to be one to, because the refs were bad on both sides. I talked about that yesterday. Like the missed field goal by Jake Elliott should have been re-kicked because there was a whistle and no flag. So the refs are bad. I mean, there's just no other way to say it, and they've been bad for the Eagles and against the Eagles, and that's just the way the game goes. So, again, I'll say it. To me, blaming the refs for your poor play is just a loser mentality, and if that is the mentality you want to have, that's great, but play better. Make the refs not become a factor in there. Speaking of the refs, the tush push, 100%. That should not have been blown dead. That was a fumble by Jalen Hurts. The rule is the rule, though, and for everybody freaking out about it, if the refs are not able to officiate the play, the refs need to get better. The refs, I just gave you some examples of the refs making. Does that mean you don't do field goal attempts? Does Does that mean you can't forward pass? I saw some Giants fans complaining about some missed holding calls. Does that mean you can't run the ball because it's hard to officiate? You could call holding on every single play in the NFL. Does that what do you do? Put your hands behind your back and not do anything? So for the people out there saying you got to get rid of it because it's hard to officiate, that's even a loser mentality. Be better at officiating. Enforce the rules that are in play. A lot of people talking about the Zach Bond hip drop on Cam Scatterboo is what caused him to be injured. That very rarely gets called. And that's not on Zach Bond. That's not on any player in the NFL who does hip drop tackles. That's on the NFL and the referees to enforce the rules that are there. That's not on Zach Bond. I'm sure Zach Bond has done hundreds of hip drop tackles over the past 2 years that haven't been called. If you want to not have players do the hip drop, call it consistently. And I think that's the issue. The refs have not been consistent. And again, it's benefited the Eagles. It's cost the Eagles this year. But the refs are not why this team is 6-2. So miss me with all that. All right, so some of the AJ drama, we'll see how that plays out this week. Jeff Lurie did say that they're not necessarily looking to trade him, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for the football team to make the team better. Not necessarily a 100% ringing endorsement, but I get where he's coming from. At the end, you got to do what's best for the team, and if trading A.J. Brown is best for the team, they'll do it. If keeping A.J. Brown on the team is best for the team, that's what they'll do. So we'll see how that plays out, but I think they just need to suck it up and get over it. And speaking of sucking up and get over it, we talked about this yesterday, but as I was reading his quotes, Bryce Harper needs to stop whining. I get it. What Dombrowski said pissed you off. Should Dombrowski have said it in the media like that? No. But maybe man up and have a call and go to Dombrowski, go to John Middleton and say, hey, what is this about? Don't fire back in the media because just like in the NFL or the NBA or anything, when there's somebody pushes somebody, it's usually the guy that retaliates that gets caught or looks bad. You look bad, Bryce. I mean, because the truth of the matter is, what Dave Dombrowski said was 100% true. Was his delivery off? 100%. He should not have said that in the media, especially if it's coming down to a contract negotiation deal where you're trying to get more money. He shouldn't have said that. But it just looks weak and like snowflake-ish for you to go back to the media. Go to Dave Dombrowski, say, yo, apparently they have not talked. So everybody just needs to man up, handle your business, and do what's best for the respective teams. Also, one last thing on the Eagles. I thought this was pretty cool. On the way into the game, just randomly saw this old dude coming across traffic wearing a bright red Phillies jacket. Or, not traffic, but the way everybody was going into the game. And I looked, I'm like, that's John Middleton. I was like, hey, Mr. Middleton. He stopped, shook my hand, and said, it's John. Should have said, hey, handle this Bryce thing. But I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, there's John Middleton walking in. So I thought that was pretty cool. But the Eagles heading into the bye, 6-2, getting healthy. Look out, NFL, because here they come. All right, speaking of here they come. Your team, your town, your 76ers. Excellent 136-124 win over the Magic, especially being shorthanded with no Joe. And just still waiting for McCain to get back. No Paul George. This team is fun, man. Absolutely fun. Tyrese Maxey is on his way to becoming an elite player. 43 points. VJ Edgecombe had 26. Kelly Oubre 25. But man, was this game fun to watch. The run and gun style. This team is resilient. Yes, the schedule hasn't necessarily been the toughest, but that's okay because they're learning how to play together. And if you watched any of that game, man, it was must-see TV. It was, Nick Nurse said he wants to make it that when the fans come in and sit down, they're like, wow, that was fun. And this game was absolutely fun. They built a big lead, let the magic back in, and then just literally ran away with it. So much fun. It's going to be even better when Jarrett McCain comes back. And if you're going to continue to get the production you're getting out of Joe, albeit on a limited basis, this team. And then you got a vet like Paul George eventually going to come back, who's not going to have to be a 25 point per game scorer, who's only going to help as well. Maybe he can spot up and shoot. This team is going to be fun. This team is going to be trouble. It's just this doesn't help my belief and jumping on board seeing games like this, especially with Maxey playing at the level he's playing at right now. Sign me up. They're in D.C. tonight to take on the Wizards. Joe should be playing tonight. And speaking of Jarrett McCain, he's out of his splint. He was shooting, looked good shooting the ball yesterday. Whoo, man, sign me up for this team. Our other winter sports team is in action tonight down at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Flyers take on the Penguins. Always fun when Pittsburgh comes to town. Looking forward to watching some of that tonight. Be sure to follow me on social media at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. Leave a review, comment, all that other good stuff. But just interact. The more interaction, the better it is for the algorithm. And had to mention this because, I'm not big on moral victories. But that World Series game last night was a good game. Ohtani is just ridiculous. And this isn't necessarily moral victory-ish, but it's going to come off that way. Just shows how great the Phillies pitching staff was in that division series. The fact that Ohtani has been red hot since that. And they shut him down, held him to one hit. I think he was like 1 for 18. And the Phillies couldn't get it done. Just more, not moral victory, but just frustrating that, man, the offense could have just scored a few more runs. We could be playing the Toronto Blue Jays, having World Series games at the bank tonight. But man, Ohtani, he's good. He's good. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds. All right, October 28th. First, let's go back to 1954. And on this day in 1954, Major League Baseball owners rejected the sale of the Philadelphia Athletics to a group of Philly-based businessmen, basically because they wanted the A's and the American League out of Philly, due in part to the recent success of the Phillies. Connie Mack was getting older, and there was a power struggle with his sons. And truthfully, just because of the way the team was playing, the up and coming, the way the Phillies were a couple years removed from a World Series appearance, there was just not a lot of support for the A's in Philly. So the American League wanted them out. This group of Philly businessmen thought that they could revive the team. But Major League Baseball owners said no chance, in part led by the New York Yankees, who essentially, when the A's the next season moved to Kansas City, used the A's as basically their minor league team. Just ridiculous. But that move and the decline of that sale paved the way for the A's to move to Kansas City that year. But here is today's trivia question. I debated on this, but I'm going to give you this as the trivia question. What team has won the most championships in Philly? It's a trick question, so stay tuned for that. But hit me up on the Discord channel, 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. But today's trivia question: which team in Philly has the most championships all time? Let me know your thoughts on that. All right, let's fast forward to 2009. Game 1 of the 2009 World Series, first World Series game at the new Yankee Stadium. This was the Cliff Lee game. He was outstanding, pitched a complete game, striking out 10, giving up 1 run. had the amazing, ridiculous, I'm bored with this catch in the 6th inning on a pop-up. Chase Utley hit 2 home runs and had a walk, setting a Major League Baseball record for 26 straight postseason games, reaching base. I forgot how good Chase Utley was in the postseason as the Phillies win Game 1 of the World Series 6-1 up in Yankee Stadium. We all know how the rest of that series played out, though. Let's go to 2018 then. Carson Wentz threw for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also had 2 turnovers. But Chris Long had 2 sacks as the Eagles held the Jaguars to 70 yards rushing in a 24-18 win in their first ever international regular season game. This game was played at London's Wembley Stadium. Eagles moved to 4-4, would sneak into the playoffs, make some noise beating the Bears before giving the Saints all they could handle. But the Eagles' first regular season international game, and I say regular season because they did play in the American Bowl over in Japan back during the Buddy Ryan days in a preseason game. But Eagles, Carson Wentz, 3 touchdowns, Chris Long, 2 sacks, beat the Jags 24-18 at Wembley Stadium. And then let's go to 2022. Aaron Nola lasted 4 1/3 innings, gave up 5 runs. Phillies were down 5-0 after 3, but chipped away off of eventual Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander, and then it was JT Realmuto with a solo shot in the 10th as the Phillies beat the Astros 6-5 in Game 1 of the World Series in Houston. Started to believe that they were able to do it. Unfortunately, again, much like the Yankees, we know how that series played out. But on this day, Phillies, back in 2009 and 2022, had 1-0 leads in the World Series. And then finally today, our 2025 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame inductee spotlight is Mendy Rudolph, who's a basketball referee. He's a Philly native and one of the GOATs when it comes to basketball referees. We talk a lot about the bad referees. Mendy Rudolph was one of the best. Ref over 2,100 games in the NBA from 1953 through 1978, including 8 All-Star games. 22 consecutive years he reffed at least 1 game in the NBA Finals. He's the author of the NBA Officials Manual and Casebook, still in use today. He was the NBA chief referee starting in 1969. Reffed all 7 games of the 1961 NBA Finals. Only time in NBA history that referee crew did all 7 games. His number 5 worn by the referees is retired. Nobody in NBA referee history will ever wear his number 5 again. He's in the Pennsylvania Basketball Hall of Fame, the PA Sports Hall of Fame, the International Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame, and on November 6th takes his spot among the Philly legends and being inducted into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame down at Live Casino. But Mendy Rudolph, basketball referee, one of the best, if not the best to ever do it, gets his due on November 6th, being inducted into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. On this day in 2022, Phillies beat the Astros 6-5 in Game 1 of the World Series. JT Realmuto with a solo shot in the 10th to give the Phils the lead, and they would hold on to win it. Carson Wentz leads the way in London as the Eagles win their first ever international game, beating the Jaguars 24-18 at Wembley Stadium. 2009, Cliff Lee was absolutely outstanding in Game 1 as the Phillies beat the Yankees 6-1. And then in 1954, Major League Baseball owners reject the sale of the Philadelphia Athletics to a Philadelphia-based group, paving the way for them to move to Kansas City later that year. Don't forget the trivia question. Who has the most championships in Philly sports history? We'll have more as the Eagles go into the bye week. We'll update you on the Sixers and Flyers. And remember, it's not the time we have. It's not about having a short time. It's about the time that we waste. So don't waste time. Go out. Don't put something off. Get to it and do the thing, whatever that thing is for you. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for October 28th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Hopefully you're seeing this. I don't know if it recorded or not. We'll find out. But Go have yourselves a Tuesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.